I never thought a simple haircut could upend my entire life. But there I was, stepping into Jordan's barbershop on a rainy afternoon in small-town Ohio, my heart pounding for reasons I couldn't quite admit. The bell above the door jingled like a warning, and as I shook off the droplets from my jacket, I locked eyes with him, Jordan Hayes, the town's enigmatic barber with a smile that could disarm anyone. By the end of that day, I'd be waking up in his bed, questioning everything I'd ever known about myself. The shop smelled of aftershave and fresh coffee, a cozy refuge from the storm outside. Jordan was alone, clipping away at an empty chair as if practicing for perfection. "Hey there, stranger," he said, his voice warm like summer asphalt. "Alex, right? From the hardware store down the block." I nodded, surprised he remembered me from the few times I'd waved hello in passing. As I settled into the worn leather seat, the mirror reflected back a guy who'd spent years hiding from my conservative family, from the judgmental whispers in our tight-knit community, from the confusing dreams that kept me up at night. He draped the cape over me with gentle precision, his fingers brushing my neck just enough to send a shiver down my spine. "What'll it be today?" The usual fade. I mumbled something affirmative, but my mind was elsewhere. Jordan chatted easily about the local football team, the upcoming town fair, mundane stuff that somehow felt profound coming from him. He was older than me by maybe 10 years, with tattoos peeking from his rolled-up sleeves and a laugh that filled the room. As he worked, I stole glances at his reflection, wondering why my pulse quickened. Halfway through, the power flickered from the storm, plunging us into dimness for a moment before the lights buzzed back. "Close call," Jordan chuckled. But then he paused, scissors hovering. "You okay, Alex? You seem tense." I swallowed hard. Tense didn't cover it. Growing up in a family where my dad preached traditional values every Sunday dinner, I'd buried any hint of attraction to men deep down. But here, in this intimate space, with Jordan's hands guiding my head, those feelings bubbled up uninvited. We talked more as he finished, about my dead-end job at the store, my dreams of escaping to the city, his own story of moving here after a messy divorce. "Life's too short to live someone else's script," he said, his eyes meeting mine in the mirror. It was like he saw right through me. When he was done, I paid and headed for the door, but the rain had turned torrential. "Wait out the storm here," he offered. "I've got coffee upstairs in my apartment." Upstairs? The shop was attached to his living space, a detail I'd never noticed. Against my better judgment, I agreed. Up the narrow stairs, his place was simple. Bookshelves crammed with novels, a guitar in the corner, photos of friends laughing at barbecues. No signs of a girlfriend or kids, which oddly relieved me. We sipped coffee on his couch, the conversation flowing like the rain outside. He shared how he'd come out in his 20s, facing backlash from his own family but finding peace in authenticity. "It wasn't easy," he admitted. "But pretending was worse." His words hit like a punch. Was I pretending? As the evening wore on, the storm knocked out the power for good. Candles flickered, casting shadows that made everything feel surreal. We talked late into the night, about fears, regrets, the weight of societal expectations. I confessed things I'd never said aloud. The crushes I'd ignored, the loneliness that gnawed at me. Jordan listened without judgment, his presence a balm. When exhaustion hit, he offered his couch, but a leak in the roof soaked it through. "Take the bed," he insisted. "I'll crash on the floor." But in the dark, vulnerability won out, and somehow we ended up sharing it. Platonically, side by side, talking until sleep claimed us. Waking up next to him the next morning, sunlight streaming in, panic set in. What had I done? This wasn't me? Or was it? I slipped out quietly, heart racing, but the seed was planted. Little did I know, that night was just the beginning of a storm far bigger than the one outside. Back at home, the guilt hit me like a freight train. My parents' house was a shrine to normalcy. Family photos on the walls, Bible verses framed in the kitchen. Dad was already at the table, newspaper in hand, grumbling about those liberals ruining the country. Mom bustled around, asking why I looked so tired. Late night at work, I lied, avoiding their eyes. But inside, Jordan's words echoed. Life's too short to live someone else's script. I tried to shake it off, throwing myself into routine. Work at the hardware store was mind-numbing, stocking shelves, helping customers with nails and paint. But now, every time someone mentioned Jordan's shop, my stomach twisted. A week later, I caved and went back for a touch-up. He greeted me like an old friend. No awkwardness, just that disarming smile. "Missed you around here," he said casually, but his eyes held something more. This time, the cut led to lunch at the diner across the street. Over burgers, we delved deeper. Jordan opened up about his ex-wife, how their marriage crumbled because he couldn't deny his true self anymore. "I hurt her, and I regret that," he confessed. "But staying would have hurt us both more." I shared about my high school days, the bullying I'd witnessed against a kid rumored to be gay, how I'd stayed silent out of fear. "I wish I'd spoken up," I said, voice cracking. Our meetings became regular, coffee after work, walks in the park. Each time, the attraction grew, subtle but undeniable. A brush of hands, a lingering gaze. But conflict loomed. My best friend, Mike, noticed my absences. "Where you been, man? Got a girl you're not telling us about." His joke stung, forcing me to dodge. Mike was from the same mold as my dad: beer, football, traditional views. If he knew. Then came the first real clash. At a family barbecue, Dad ranted about a news story on gay marriage. "It's unnatural, against God's plan," he declared, pounding the table. Everyone nodded, including me, out of habit. But inside, rage simmered. That night, I called Jordan, voice trembling. "I can't do this. My family, they'd disown me." He was quiet, then said, "Alex, you deserve to be happy. But only you can decide when to fight." The tension built. I started avoiding church, making excuses. Mom worried, Dad suspected. One evening, after a heated argument with him about my attitude, I stormed out and ended up at Jordan's. He held me as I vented, his arms a safe haven. "You're not alone," he whispered. That night, emotions overflowed into our first kiss. Tentative, charged with years of repression. Felt right but terrifying. Word spread subtly in our small town. Whispers at the store. "Alex hanging with that barber a lot." A customer joked, "Careful, he's one of those." I laughed it off, but fear gripped me. Jordan faced it too: fewer clients, pointed stares. "I've been through this," he said. "We can weather it together." But doubt crept in. Was this worth the risk? A turning point came at the town fair. We went as friends, but holding back was agony. When a drunk guy hurled slurs at us, mistaking our closeness, Jordan stood firm. "Mind your business," he snapped. The guy backed off, but the incident shook me. Back at his place, I broke down. "What if my family finds out?" Jordan pulled me close. "Then we face it. Love isn't easy, Alex." As weeks passed, our bond deepened amid growing pressure. I confided in a cousin who'd moved to the city, her support a lifeline. But the real test loomed. Thanksgiving dinner, where secrets threatened to unravel. Thanksgiving dawned crisp and clear, but my nerves were frayed. The family gathered at home. Uncles, aunts, cousins filling the house with laughter and the scent of turkey. I arrived late, hoping to blend in, but Dad cornered me immediately. "You've been distant, son. What's going on?" I mumbled about work stress, but his eyes narrowed. Throughout dinner, conversations veered into politics, with Dad praising a local politician's stance against the gay agenda. Snickers followed, and I gripped my fork tighter, silent as ever. Jordan had invited me over later, a quiet escape. But as I helped clear plates, Mom pulled me aside. "Alex, honey, are you seeing someone? You seem different." Her concern was genuine, but laced with expectation. Of a nice girl, grandkids. I deflected, but the lie burned. Driving to Jordan's, tears blurred the road. He greeted me with a hug, sensing my turmoil. "Rough day." We sat by the fire and I poured it out, the hypocrisy, the fear of rejection. That night we talked strategy. Maybe start small, Jordan suggested. Test the waters with your mom. But fate intervened. The next day, Mike showed up at the store unannounced. Dude, I saw you leaving Jordan's last night. What's up with that? His tone was accusatory, eyes searching. I froze, then blurted. We're friends. He helps with advice. Mike scoffed. Advice? From that guy? Everyone knows he's queer. Don't let him rub off on you. The word hit like a slap, igniting anger. And if he is? So what? Mike stared, then laughed nervously. You're joking, right? The confrontation escalated. Mike pressed, and in a moment of defiance, I admitted, I'm seeing him as more than friends. Shock registered, then disgust. Man, that's messed up. Your dad will flip. He stormed out, leaving me reeling. Word spread like wildfire. By evening, Dad called, voice thunderous. Get home now. The drive felt eternal. At home, it was an ambush. Dad, Mom, even my sister waited. Mike told us. Dad barked. Is it true? You're involved with that man? The room spun. Mom's eyes welled with tears. Alex, please say it's not. I stood tall, heart hammering. It is. I'm gay, Dad. And Jordan makes me happy. Silence exploded into chaos. Dad ranted about sin, disgrace, how I'd shamed the family. No son of mine, he shouted. Mom pleaded, think about what you're doing. My sister stayed quiet, conflicted. I left amid yells, crashing at Jordan's. He held me as sobs racked my body. I'm proud of you, he murmured. But the fallout was swift. At work, co-workers whispered. Customers avoided me. Jordan's shop saw cancellations, graffiti appearing overnight. Slurs scrawled in red. The town, once familiar, turned hostile. We faced stares, anonymous threats in the mail. Amid the storm, our love solidified. Jordan proposed a move to Columbus, where acceptance was greater. A fresh start, he said. But ties bound me, family, roots. A heated debate ensued. Running away won't fix this, I argued. We fight here, Jordan countered. Sometimes survival means leaving toxicity behind. The climax built when Dad showed up at the shop, unannounced. I need to talk to my son. Jordan stepped aside warily. Dad's face was etched with anger, but also pain. This isn't you, Alex. It's him influencing you. I refuted. No, Dad. This is me. Always has been. The argument peeled layers. His own fears from a rigid upbringing, my resentment of his control. It ended unresolved, him storming out with, don't come home until you fix this. Exhausted, we clung to each other, but cracks appeared. Jordan's patience waned with the harassment. I can't keep losing business, he admitted one night. Doubt seeped in. Was our love strong enough? The harassment intensified, testing our resolve. Anonymous calls at night, tires slashed on Jordan's truck. The police dismissed it as pranks. But we knew better. Jordan's ex-wife, hearing the news, reached out supportively, but it stirred old insecurities in me. She gets it, he said, but I wondered if remnants of that life pulled at him. At work, my boss called me in. Customers are complaining. This lifestyle choice is bad for business. The ultimatum, tone it down or leave. Furious, I quit on the spot, storming out to Jordan's. We can't stay here, I declared, but he hesitated. This town's my home too. Running feels like defeat. Our first major fight erupted, accusations flying. You're willing to risk us for pride? I yelled. He shot back. And you're ready to abandon everything? Reconciliation came slowly, in quiet moments. A drive to the lake, hands intertwined, reminded us why we fought. I love you, Jordan said, the words an anchor, but society pushed back. My sister visited secretly, torn. Dad's heartbroken, but stubborn. Give him time. Her words offered hope, but time was a luxury. A pivotal event shook us. A community meeting on family values, where locals debated banning pride events. Dad spoke, decrying moral decay. Jordan and I attended incognito at first. When a young teen shared his suicide attempt due to bullying, I couldn't stay silent. Standing, I declared, "I'm gay, and this hate nearly broke me. We need change." Gasps rippled. Dad's face paled. Jordan joined me. "Love isn't a threat. Ignorance is." The room divided, some applauded, others jeered. Dad approached afterward, voice low. "You humiliated me." But his eyes held flicker of doubt. "Is this really what you want?" I nodded. Then, "I don't know if I can accept it." He left, but the door cracked open. Emboldened, we organized a support group at the shop, drawing a few allies. Business trickled back from progressives. But backlash peeked with a brick through the window. Note attached, "Leave or else." Fear gripped us. That night, in bed, Jordan confessed, "I'm scared, Alex." For us, vulnerability bonded us deeper. Personal growth intertwined with drama. I volunteered at a LGBTQ center in the city, finding purpose. Jordan reconnected with estranged family, sharing our story. Tensions eased slightly. Mom called, tentative, "I miss you," but Dad remained distant. A controversial twist arose when Mike apologized. Admitting his own biases stemmed from fear. "I was wrong," he said over beer. Reconciliation mended old wounds, but not without debate. Was forgiveness too easy? As winter set in, we planned a trip to New York for a Pride event, a breath of freedom. But on the eve, Dad showed up unannounced. "Let's talk," he said gruffly. Over coffee, walls crumbled. He admitted reading articles, talking to a pastor open to change. "I don't understand, but I love you." Tears flowed. It wasn't full acceptance, but a start. Returning home with Jordan, hope bloomed. Yet questions lingered. Had we compromised too much? The town's shift was slow, conflicts ongoing. Spring brought tentative renewal, but old wounds festered. Our relationship, forged in fire, faced its ultimate test when Jordan received a job offer in Chicago. A bigger shop, better opportunities, away from the toxicity. "This could be our chance," he urged, eyes pleading. But I balked. "What about fighting here? We've made progress." The debate raged, exposing fissures. Was I clinging to familiarity out of fear? Was he escaping responsibility? Family dynamics evolved unevenly. Mom visited regularly, baking pies and asking about Jordan subtly. "He seems kind," she'd say, warming slowly. Dad attended a support meeting anonymously, a huge step, but his approval was conditional. "As long as it's discreet," he muttered, sparking arguments. "Love shouldn't hide," I countered. Society's pushback continued. A local paper ran an op-ed praising our courage, but hate mail followed. At a town hall, we advocated for anti-discrimination policies, facing boos from conservatives. A heated exchange with a councilman went viral locally, dividing opinions. Allies emerged. A teacher starting a GSA at school, businesses displaying rainbow flags. But detractors boycotted, including old friends. In a moment of doubt, I confided in Jordan about fleeting thoughts of normalcy, a life without scrutiny. "Do you ever regret this?" He paused, hurt flashing. "Regret us? Never. But the pain? Sometimes." Honesty strengthened us, leading to deeper commitments. Rings exchanged in private, vows whispered. The climax arrived at the annual fair, where last year's slur incident haunted us. We set up a booth for the support group, drawing crowds. Dad appeared, hesitant. "Came to see what this is about." As he listened to stories, empathy dawned. When a heckler shouted slurs, Dad intervened. "That's my son you're talking to. Show respect." The crowd hushed. In that moment, bridges mended. But triumph was bittersweet. Jordan's offer deadline loomed. "If we stay, we stagnate," he argued. "Move, and we thrive." Torn, I weighed options, family ties versus personal growth. A family dinner sealed it. Dad admitted, "I was wrong to push you away. Live your life." Mom added, "Wherever that is." We chose Chicago, packing amid mixed emotions. The move symbolized rebirth, but leaving roots stung. In our new apartment, Overlooking the city, Jordan proposed properly on one knee. "Marry me, Alex." Tears mingled with yes. Settling in, we built a life free from small-town shadows. Friends, community, careers flourishing. Jordan's shop thrived. I pursued graphic design. Passions ignited. Occasional visits home showed progress. Dad attending our wedding quietly, Mom beaming. Reflecting, the journey from that rainy barbershop day to here was fraught with choices. Defiance over conformity. Love over fear. Conflicts sparked change. But at what cost? Families mended. Societies shifted incrementally. Yet, one question lingers. Was uprooting our lives the right path? Or should we have stayed to fight longer, proving change is possible even in the heart of resistance?